Now, if you have seen Game of Thrones, you would have seen or heard of the legendary fighter Arthur Dayne, who's literally considered to be the best swordsman slash fighter in the whole universe. That fight scene that we see him fighting at the Tower of Joy against Ned Stark, that was hands down one of the best sword fights in the whole show. Now, after finishing the show and stuff like that, I decided to do a bit more research on Arthur Dayne, reading some of the books, seeing what other people have said about Arthur Dayne. So yeah, I thought I'd just talk about Arthur Dayne because he's actually one of the most goated characters I've seen in the whole universe. So yeah, enough yapping, let's just get into it. Arthur Dayne is from House Dayne of Starfall, which is one of the most ancient and prestigious houses in Dorne. Now, what truly set him apart wasn't his nobility or his Valyrian features, it was his sword. And it wasn't just any sword, it was a sword called Dawn. Now, the lore for this sword, it was literally forged from a heart of a fallen star. Now, when I mentioned Starfall earlier, one of the first Danes in Westeros literally saw a shooting star come down and literally followed it until it landed, and that's when they decided to build a castle above the crash site called Starfall. And that shooting star contained metal which was used to forge the sword. Now, the sword Dawn is literally a pale white and is nearly as sharp as actual Valyrian steel. Now, unlike actual Valyrian swords like Dark Sister, Blackfire, and other swords, the only way you could obtain this sword was if you were actually worthy of it. There was nothing to do with birthright, it was purely based on how skillful and worthy you are. And once you obtained the sword, you would be then given the title the Sword of the Morning, which is Arthur Dayne's most famous title. Now, Arthur Dayne was incredible with the blade. He was probably the most iconic wielder of that one sword, and by his early adulthood, Dayne's skills were so extraordinary, the Mad King, King Aerys, literally knighted him and gave him a spot in the kingsguard. Now, this was one of the most elite kingsguard in history. He was literally among other great fighters, and one of them was Barristan Selmy, who is also considered a top 3 fighter in the whole universe. And he himself has literally stated that Arthur Dayne was the finest knight, one of the best swordsmen he had ever seen, and people called Barristan Selmy one of the greatest swordsmen ever. So that must say something. And also Jaime Lannister literally looks up to Arthur Dayne, and a prime Jaime Lannister is deadly, he's lethal. So that says a lot about Arthur Dayne. If your favourite fighter or character literally looks up to Arthur Dayne, that's how you know they're good. Now let's just go over some known feats of Arthur Dayne. Arthur Dayne literally fought during the brutal conflict during the time of Robert's Rebellion, one of the most significant events in all of Westeros, and during this time, he defeated the Kingswood Brotherhood, which was basically like a group of outlaws. Now, one of these outlaws was someone called the Smiling Knight. We don't know his actual name, but Arthur Dayne has fought him twice, I'm pretty sure. The second time, he actually killed. And during that second exchange, he actually got rid of the Smiling Knight's sword, so he actually could have killed the Smiling Knight a lot earlier than he should have, but instead he had the honor to give him a second chance. He literally told the Smiling Knight to go find another sword and carry on the fight. So that just shows how much of an honorable man Arthur Dayne is. He's willing to give the Smiling Knight an honorable death, which is actually crazy. And just for some more context, the Smiling Knight was literally known as Arthur Dayne's era of the Mountain. And we all know the Mountain, he's a huge person. So, yeah. And not only was the Smiling Knight huge, he was also one of the best swordsmen of Arthur Dayne's time. And his pain tolerance was crazy. And, of course, one of the most obvious things, he would always smile. He was basically a psychotic version of the Mountain. Basically, if the Joker had the Mountain's strength and size and skill with a sword, that's the Smiling Knight right there. So, yeah. Now, another famous fight that Arthur Dayne was involved in was at the Tower of Joy, near towards the ending of Robert's Rebellion. Dayne and his fellow kingsguard, which Prince Rhaegar had sent to defend the Tower of Joy, he ran upon Ned Stark and his northern soldiers. It was pretty much a 7 against 3. So basically, Ned Stark had literally the best odds. However, Arthur Dayne was there, and the kingsguard that was also there were also known to be great fighters as well. The fight we see in the show is the exact one I'm talking about, and they did a very good job of portraying the fight. We literally see Arthur Dayne wield 2 swords, which, to be honest, he never really did have 2 swords, but it was a pretty cool spectacle to see visually, and I think it was also to portray how good he was as a fighter for the whole audience, so it kind of makes sense. And during that fight scene we see in the episode, it literally shows you how skillful and a force of nature Arthur Dayne really was as a fighter. Because literally in the books, I'm pretty sure this happened off screen in the show as well, but Ned Stark literally reflects how Arthur Dayne literally would have smoked Ned Stark had he have not been stabbed in the back by Howland Reed, one of the Northmen that was with Ned Stark. So yeah, Arthur Dayne literally being outnumbered and doing like a 1v7 to a 1v1, that is absolutely outrageous. You have to put huge respect on Arthur Dayne's name. Now finally, here's actually why he's considered the best, and why he's literally looked upon throughout the whole of Westeros. Firstly, the recognition he brought. The greatest knights of his era literally acknowledged him as the best. And this was from people like Sebastian Selmy, Jaime Lannister, people like that. Second of all, he was literally worthy of Dorne, the sword. An ancient blade that's literally tied to legacy. It's literally not about birthright. It's about how worthy you are of that sword. It's literally like Mjolnir from Marvel, so yeah. Thirdly, the feats. Being outnumbered in the Tower of Joy, and he would have absolutely smoked the 7 of them, the 7 Northmen by the way, which those 7 Northmen were considered one of the best Northern fighters of all time as well. He literally would have won had he have not been backstabbed like that. And also finally, why he's pretty much considered the best, the literal author George R.R. Martin literally said Arthur Dayne is the best. I mean, if the author's saying that, you have to kind of believe it. So yeah, I mean, if Jaime Lannister, Sebastian Selmy, and the author, the actual author, is saying you're the best, you just are the best. So yeah. So yeah, overall, Arthur Dayne wasn't just a normal regular knight. He was one of the best fighters and one of the most honourable knights of all time. So yeah, he was pretty much the standard that other knights or later knights would look up to. He was similar to Aemon the Dragon Knight, which I will make a video on him later on. But yeah, he's literally similar to Aemon the Dragon Knight. The future knights will always look up to Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below of Arthur Dayne, and if I did make any type of mistake, correct me in the comments as well. But yeah.